requested a sit down. He heard you out.
How's everyone going? Nico here with the wooden spoon. A little bit of a hiatus from the podcast, but I'm super pumped. I've got a great guest today. It is Chiara in Italy. If you haven't seen her content, she's on TikTok, Instagram, a U.S. citizen, moved to Italy, and is obviously having a much better time than all of us here in the States. How's it going?
It is going so well. Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed if you said it wasn't going well. So
Oh, it's going terribly. No, it definitely is not. I can't say it is.
Yeah, but thanks for coming on. I appreciate it, and I'm super excited. So, I guess like right off the bat, let me turn my light on. Right off the bat, where are you in Italy?
So I live in a town on the Italian Riviera. It's right next to Portofino. It's called Santa Margherita Ligure. And yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful spot in Italy. I consider it to be magical. Anything can happen here. And right now it's high tourist season. So the Americans are starting to flood in. I'm hearing a lot of American English around. I'm like, oh, wow, how cool. Because
I know, even like right off the bat, you answer the call and there's like birds chirping and it's, oh man, I'm just stuck out here like cars and airplanes. It's not fun.
Yeah, my mom says that it's really cold in New York.
It was like 80 last week and then now it's like 60 and it's just that classic New York, just bipolar weather.
Yeah, but even here, I mean, it hailed the other day. Last week it hailed in May. Yeah, so this
one more time, like where are you like in relation, like you're north, like middle, like
yeah, Mexico? So I'm like right on the coast. So if you look at France,
okay,
and you take that coastline into Italy, it's like 3 hours from the border of France.
Oh, so right? Cool. So you're more northern Italy.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Now, where did you live in the States before you moved to Italy?
So I came from New York. I lived 30 minutes outside of the city on the other side of the river. And
okay, whereabouts? Because my fiance's mom lives up there. She lives in
Newburgh. Yes, I also live in Orange County. That's Orange County, right?
Oh, great, cool.
Yes. But yeah, my father, he's the Italian one. My mom, she's from New York. So I grew up in the States, but went back and forth from New York and Italy.
Awesome. Now, when did you, I guess kind of you give us just the origin story of what happened. Like, where were you in life when you just decided to, like, you know what, I'm just going to move to Italy. It's fine.
Okay, so this is what happened. So I was bartending for a very long time at a country club in New York. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I was also going to school full time as well for business. And I found myself in the position of graduating college and also being so depressed and tired of my job. They offered me a promotion, which didn't end up happening. So it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been with these people for 7 years and the offer and the promotion that they said they were going to offer me ended up falling through. So I didn't feel appreciated at my job. And I also graduated. And I found myself not really wanting to continue with my work and also not really being tied down with school. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know what, let me go to Italy and get my dual citizenship. So I bought my plane ticket and I came. And once I landed, I immediately began the process from that side of the pond, not by going through the consulate in New York, because I wasn't even able to get an appointment from the consulate in New York. I know that takes absolutely years to finalize.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I remember my uncle wanted to get dual citizenship at one point, and I remember him going to New York City, and it was just like a waste of time.
Yes, that's exactly how it was. I tried to get an appointment, wasn't able to get an appointment. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to Italy and do it. And I was able to get it within 3 to 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very quick process because, you know, as long as you come prepared and you have all your documents in order, then, you know, one step at a time, you're able to get it. And some steps you're able to complete more than one step in the same day. So it definitely was a great investment of my time and energy.
Awesome. Do you mind me asking how old you are? Because obviously you look like you're 20, 21, 20 to 25-ish.
You know, I got a comment yesterday on TikTok saying, how old are you, 40? I'm like, wow, thank you. No, I'm actually 56, but thank you for the compliment. Yeah. No, I'm 26.
Okay, so you're my age. Yeah. So That's a huge, because right now I actually had a not similar, but I had moved from Buffalo to New York City. I'm originally from Buffalo. I moved in with my girlfriend who lived in New York City. I say I'm the only person during the pandemic to move to New York City, which is
Oh
funny.
my
So I
God.
mean, I guess it's a big change of pace, but I feel like at the age I was at, it's like if you're ever gonna move to New York City and take a chance at something, it's like the perfect age to do it. So were
Yeah.
you like in the same boat?
Yeah, I guess so. I really didn't have anything tying me down to the States at that point. I wasn't dating anyone. I didn't have school anymore, and I was like on the brink of quitting.
Mhm.
So I'm like, you know what, screw it. Like, if not now, then when? Like, why not now?
Exactly, exactly. So cool. So when you first left, is it just you that moved? Did your parents move as well? Like,
No, it was just me that moved, like moved full time.
mhm.
So I grew up coming back and forth. Um, but my parents and my family, they still live in New York. I am
Okay.
here by myself.
Wow. So what's that like? What was like the first week or the first month like? You're just there. Are you living with family? Did you guys do you have a place in Italy first or?
So I'm renting,
Okay.
but honestly, it's been I mean, I get so many questions like people are worried about coming to Italy because they're worried about safety and how
Mhm.
is it being a woman in Italy. I've never felt so safe here. I mean, the most dangerous thing about Italy probably is the cinghiale, which are wild boar. Like they have boar here like they have deer, like
Okay.
we have deer. That's like the most dangerous thing I think I need to consider when I'm like going out at night, for example.
Mhm.
But I also don't live in the city. If I lived in
Yeah.
the city, it'd probably be a different story. I live in a really beautiful beach town. In the wintertime, it was really no man's land. This is
Mhm.
really a vacation spot where people have
Gotcha.
their vacation homes. And then in the warmer months, the tourists come. So in the wintertime, it was really, really quiet. But no, I thought it was great. This definitely the change in pace here. You really need to learn how to enjoy the quote unquote slow living. Um, and if you don't know, coming from New York, it's very difficult to, take things slow, even
Yeah.
walking slowly on like the sidewalk. Like Italians walk really slowly,
Mhm.
and I have nowhere to go, but it's like, please, excuse me, like let me go around
No, I
here.
know, even like state to state, because we'll go to Florida sometimes and we're just trying to walk past everybody. I think that's a New York thing.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And it's definitely something that I'm learning. I'm learning to go with the flow and take things slower and have more patience. And it's definitely had a positive effect on my spiritual health, my mental and physical health as well.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so I guess like the first month, did you like I guess look for a job or like what's like that like because I think like day-to-day living and like you get up, you go to work, whatever, fun time. So like how was the transition from New York to like Italy? Like you get there, it's like now what do I feel like was it like a now what do I do or did you have plans beforehand?
Well, you can't technically get a job. You can't technically get a job until you have the proper paperwork, which I
Hmm.
did not have.
Hmm.
My limit here in the country was 90 days, just like everyone else, even though my dad was born and raised in Italy. So I wasn't able to even look or consider a job until I finally got that dual citizenship. But I'll be honest with you, when I left to come here, I did not come with the intention of looking for a job
Oh yeah, yeah.
because I bartended for such a long time. And if you take a look at my videos, I say this as often as I can, but I lived off of the paychecks and I saved my tips.
Hmm.
So it was kind of like a take of the money and run type of situation.
Okay.
And I kind of just booked it. I bought the plane ticket, came, and I started working on my TikTok account.
Hmm.
And now I have my own projects on the side of that I promote through social media,
Oh, awesome.
which
So are you like pretty much like as of right now, just it's like TikTok and social media is like kind of like your full-time gig?
yeah, it seems like that. I mean, I wasn't really expecting it
Hmm.
to gain popularity as quickly as it did. I mean, I started it in January and
Hmm.
I have over 76,000 followers now.
Yeah, that's so
And
awesome. What was like, did you just I feel like when you get there and you start living, it's like, oh, I'll make a TikTok account, but obviously like you studied business. So I feel like you have that little bit of a business mind about you. It's like, oh, this is definitely a great tool to like maybe possibly supplement income or.
I mean, I started I'll be honest with you. It was definitely a strategy. I knew I was going to Italy, and I knew I had a creative eye to be able to take video footage of things that people would like. And I started the account with the intention of growing it. Wasn't really expecting, this outcome, especially this quickly. But I also studied, the algorithm and how to pinch it in the proper places. And I'm sorry, there's a car passing by.
No, it's fine.
And so eventually the algorithm picked up a couple of my videos and I went viral a few times. And then that's like the rest was just history after that. That's when I really started to focus on that.
Yeah, so I feel like now that you've gained a lot of popularity, is it just constantly people asking for like travel tips, like moving to
Constantly.
Italy?
Constantly. A big thing is, how do I get myself over there myself? I'm Italian. How do I do that? So because I was getting this question asked so often and I couldn't keep repeating myself, I wrote all of the details of the process that I had gone through to getting dual citizenship. And I put it in an ebook so that people could easily access how to do it themselves.
That's so smart.
Yeah.
So is the ebook for sale right now? Is it like coming soon? Oh, it's for sale.
Yes. I recently launched a website where you can purchase the ebook. I also have consultation services if somebody needs more one-on-one information, something a little bit more tailored to their needs. And then I also have a guided tour coming up in Portofino where I reserved a charter and, reserved a 4-course lunch in Portofino, snorkeling and a whole beautiful thing.
Oh, you're bringing that American business mind, Portofino.
I am. You know what? But I've always been a creative one. Let me tell you. A lot of Italians they leave Italy and they move abroad because of lack of opportunity. But honestly, especially being from New York, I see opportunity everywhere. I try to talk to everyone and try to connect with everyone. And there's a lot of interesting people out there that are willing to offer you, some sort of collaboration, let's say. And here I definitely feel more inspired to be creative here, which I did not feel back in the States.
That's I could see that for sure. It's almost a thought that I've always had, because obviously like I think about it wanting to maybe buy a house in Italy one day, even though I've never went. So it's like, what am I even talking about? But yeah. No, it's definitely a plan. Well, we're visiting. I'm going to ask you a couple tips in a minute, because I finally booked my first trip. But I feel like it's weird just to think like how all of our ancestors and our family came from Italy to the United States for a better life. And it's like, has that changed now? Do you think is the better life now in Italy? Would we be giving our children and grandchildren a better life going back? That's a thought that I've had. Maybe it's kind of a deep question, but I wanted to get your take on it.
It's definitely a question I do get often. Italy, unfortunately, is one of those places where jobs are not the opportunity here. If you're looking for a job, is not that great, which is why a lot of Italians move abroad. But if you're somebody who is creative, maybe an entrepreneur, someone like you who could work from the computer, even getting a remote American job and living in Italy is a great option that a lot of people don't consider. But personally, the lifestyle here is much healthier than the lifestyle in the States. And then also considering the political climate in the US, I think a lot of Americans leaving the States to go to Italy, it's definitely something that's trending right now. And back to, the healthy lifestyle thing. My grandmother, for example, is 101 years old.
Wow.
And she lives here in Italy.
Not to interrupt, but what do you say instead of cent'anni now?
Cent'anni. You know what's so funny? Because we recently celebrated her birthday in April. They don't have balloons that have 101. They stop at 100. We couldn't find a balloon for this poor woman.
Funny.
She's so cute though. She drinks a lot of wine. But like, for example, the pace of life here is much slower, which is healthy for the body, but also the food, on the other hand, is also not filled with chemicals, not filled with preservatives, isn't causing disease in people. So people are able to live much longer. So in that regard, I prefer Italy to the States. The hustle culture has really destroyed the mental health of a lot of people, which, you know, the hustle culture does exist in cities, for example, like Milan or Torino or Rome. But, you know, if you find yourself a nice little town, a nice little beach village, let's say, and you live a small, simple, quiet life, just you would probably live to 101 years old.
Wow. Now, let's brush back on this topic of being like a digital nomad, for say you had a remote US job or you had a remote business where you're able to have clients in stateside. Like, say you move to this little beach, what are like the expenses like compared to like somewhere like New York City where you pay for a studio to a one bedroom anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 a month in a rent?
Yeah. So the cost of living in Italy is much cheaper than the cost of living in the United States, which is why, you know, on a bartender salary, on the tips that I've been able to make bartending, I can drag that out for over a year here, probably more than a year, probably almost 2 years, I'll be honest with you. And it's not about the conversion rate. It's about how far the dollar can go here. You know, with $100 here, you can buy a lot more than $100 in the States. And so the cost of living is much lower, but if it's lower because the salaries are lower.
Yeah.
But I speak as an American. I don't speak as an Italian that's working in Italy, right? So if you're an American making American money, but living in Italy, then, you know, use the Americanism, your Americanism to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Use it to your advantage. Get an American remote job, make American money, but live in Italy. It's like people living in New York their entire life, but then moving to the Carolinas.
Yeah, exactly.
For retirement. But Italy instead.
Now, let me ask you another question. What is the, like, as like Italians there, what is that what's the perspective of Americans coming? Because I know you go to, like, say Hawaii, when people don't like non-Hawaii residents to come in and jack up the prices on things, or even going to Florida, the Carolinas. I know that's very controversial for the people that have lived there their whole lives.
Yeah. Thankfully, I haven't had a problems with Italians myself, and I know
it's much less of a problem than it is like New Yorkers going to Florida or New Yorkers going to Carolina, because not as many people are going to Italy. I would say. I
mean, I definitely get the comment in my comment sections quite frequently about we don't want any more Americans here, is what they say. Stop encouraging Americans to move to Italy, and I totally understand what, like, for example, tipping. I got my hair done and I tipped the hairstylist, and I made a video about the fact that I got my hair done and that I tipped. And, you know, there were people in my comment section that were very angry because tipping culture is not a thing here. They don't tip in Italy.
Yep.
And when I'm here, I don't tip as well. However, when I know that the service has been good, I want to show the people that I appreciate that by tipping. And, you know, people were angry at me saying, stop tipping, because if you keep tipping, they're going to think that that's a normal thing to do. And then they're going to expect it from the locals as well. I'm like, look, I'm going to continue tipping. I'm a bartender. I'm able to be in Italy. This opportunity was given me because of the generosity of my customers. So unfortunately, it's just, I'm wired that way to show appreciation. But that's just one example. They get angry if I tip. But I wouldn't say there's enough Americans for Italians to start worrying, but I also live in a pretty expensive part of Italy where this town and this area really runs on tourism. So the prices are pretty high compared to other parts of Italy. So they're used to pretty high prices, but not pretty high. They're okay for an American, but for locals here, they could be expensive. but I've definitely gotten the comment of, we don't want any more Americans in Italy to stop coming over. But, unfortunately,
Yeah,
Italy.
I feel like that's also a lot harder of a transition. It's easy to go New York to Florida. It's kind of hard to go New York to Italy, especially if you, one, don't speak the language. I could see that as being a little bit of a barrier.
Yeah, but I have to admit, a lot of people here in Italy speak Italian. Speak English. They're very educated when it comes to English. They learn it in schools, kind of how we learn Spanish.
Okay.
And it's such a touristic country that a lot of Italians need to know how to speak English more than the basics in order to be able to communicate with their customers who come from all over the world.
Absolutely.
So you got to be careful when you speak English, because most likely people will understand.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what other like comments do you get, like a lot of people, like, have you ever had a comment saying, I actually did this too? Or have you like known that you've like kind of encouraged people to move yet? Or because I know you're so new at creating content still, like I feel like it'd be hard for somebody in 5 months to move.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely gotten a lot of people saying, I booked my trip to Italy because of you, or, I'm looking into buying a home because of you, which has been very, very cool. I really appreciate that. I wasn't expecting people to, change their lives because of the funny videos I post. But yeah, a lot of people, they stop me on the street now. The Americans do. They recognize me and they're like, oh my God. It's so weird. Let me tell you, because like I don't consider myself an influencer. Like I don't like that word.
Yeah.
It makes me cringe a little bit, but it's really nice to meet people who follow me and that support my page. And they'll tell me things like, I bought my ticket and I'm here because of you. I'm like, oh wow, that is really, really awesome. And sometimes I'll like stop and have a drink with them. So
cool.
It is very cool. And I have a really, really great group of followers. They're awesome people.
Absolutely. Well, me being one of them, so it's obviously great. But
clearly.
No, yeah. So I'm sure you're getting bombarded too with travel tips. So if you don't mind, I'm going to give you my dates of Italy, and you're going to kind of tell me what's maybe overrated, what maybe is underrated, and some things like that. And then I guess I'll kind of hit you with a little bit of a surprise of what I'm trying to do as well. But so I'm flying in and out of Rome. September 12th. We'll get there on the 13th to the 26th.
Okay.
My idea in my head was spend a week in Rome, visit family that lives in between Rome and Naples in a town called Minturno for a day or two, finish off in Amalfi, drive back, fly home from Rome. That was kind of like the outline I had in my head. And nothing's booked besides the flight. So
okay. No, it sounds good. I like it a lot. You picked a really good month to go because it's still hot. So you can still go to the beach and it has that, Italian summery feel, but the tourists have finally, gone back home. So it's not going to be too crowded. But when it comes to traveling, so you're going to be there for around 13 days?
Yeah, 13 days-ish.
Okay. So when it comes to traveling for a short amount of time, I don't recommend, because a lot of people, what they do is they'll try to visit as many cities as they possibly can within that amount of time, but then they don't really.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely trying to avoid, because my girlfriend's like, why don't we like start in Venice, go to Florence, then Rome? Then I was like, no.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You really want to be able to absorb the culture of each place that you're visiting. I would say 3 days in each spot, but it also depends on where the spot is. I would say 3 days in Rome. If you're going to stay in maybe a week in Rome, but if you're going to be hopping around, you want to see a little bit more, I would say at least 2 to 3 days in each spot. Talk to the locals, learn about, what they think about the area. I always ask locals for advice on where to eat.
That's my big concern, because if anybody comes to New York City and asks me where to get pizza, I know the spots. I've been to all of them. So that's like my main thing. It's like I would hate to fall into a tourist trap restaurant. Like that's my biggest fear traveling to Italy.
Yeah, and you know what? They're all over, especially if you're going to be in the touristy parts of Italy, like the cities. But yes, especially because Italians are very proud of their cuisine and they want to put their best foot forward in regards to that. So if you stop a local, hey, we're looking for a place to eat lunch, where do you recommend? I mean, he'll come with you. He's like, oh my God, yes, I have a great spot. I'll come with, I'll show you. Oh, where are you guys from? And like, that's how it is. So I try to push people as much as I can to go talk to the locals and really try to absorb as much as you can on the culture of where you are. And it's also important to remember that restaurants close between 3 and like 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
So eat lunch during lunchtime, or you're not going to eat until dinner.
Gotcha.
Yes.
I know that's
I found myself, it's not like New York where just everything is open all the time. They close. Yeah.
Gotcha. Good tips. Good tips. Yeah. And then, so we'll do Rome, and then we're thinking about getting a car. So I don't know what driving's like in Italy still. I know that's going to be, from what people tell me, it's either going to be a breeze or it's going to be the worst experience of my life.
I mean, do you know how to drive manual?
That's another problem. No, I do not. And I know
Okay.
it's more expensive to rent an automatic transmission car, which is fine.
I mean, if I were you, I'd probably spend that little extra and get the automatic, because when you're in a land that you don't really know, and the last thing you want to do is think about.
No, I'm not ashamed to say I don't know. I get the concept of driving a manual, but I mean,
I don't know either. So. And you know what? Even if you want, it's also a good idea to rent bicycles, rent Vespas. There's definitely places in the towns that you'll be going to where you're able to do that, so you don't have to take the car around, because when you're going to a pretty touristy area, you don't want to be driving in a car. Parking is a nightmare, and there's traffic.
Now, people keep telling me about, you're going to drive and then you're going to come on a cliff and then a truck's going to come at you from the other way, not having enough room, and you're going to have to back up. And so that freaks me out a little bit. That's true.
Yes, it is very true.
Oh, great.
It's true even in my area. When you go to Portofino, it's all curves and the roads are pretty narrow. So what happens is when you reach those curves, you want to do a honk.
Okay.
So that the other person, if there is somebody else on the other side, will do the same. So you're aware, like, don't listen to music and focus on, making sure you don't smash into anyone. But but Italians are very good drivers, and everyone is used to driving like that. So it's not anything that you need to be worried about, but definitely do a little honk as you approach those curves.
Yeah. And then the last place, so I just wanted to go to Rome and then the Amalfi Coast, basically my two, swing by Naples, go to the first pizzeria, and then I guess go to the Amalfi Coast, which a conversation my fiance are having is to possibly just elope in Italy. So we're looking into that, which is a crazy thing.
Oh my God, that's so exciting!
It's 4 months away.
I mean, like, okay, why not?
Yes, that's reason number one. Why not?
Why not? And you know what? You can even like extend that trip and just stay and have your honeymoon.
Well, that's what we were thinking too. We're like, whoa, what if we flip it now? And the first thing we do is elope in Amalfi, then spend a week in Amalfi, then go to Rome, which is now looking like the plan, because we reached out to some, because I guess there's tons of companies that do it. It's pretty affordable. The only thing is it's not like legally binding marriage, but you still get the ceremony and everything.
Do you hear the church bells?
No. Oh, now I do.
That's a sign.
That's a sign. There we go. I'm going to have to, we're going to clip this and send this to my fiance. So now
that's a sign. I think that sounds like a good idea. I would do it. Why not? Like, why not?
Yeah, that's the reason. That's because we never wanted a big wedding to begin with. So we could go do the courthouse thing here and then go to Italy, or vice versa.
Yeah. I mean, my parents got married twice. They got married in court in the States, and then they got married in church here and had a party.
So cool. Yeah, all signs are leading to it. So
I love how the church bells went off just now. I think that was beautiful.
Yes, that was perfect. Thank you, Chiara.
You're welcome.
I'm going to dig into my pockets a little bit more for this trip, but it's fine.
Hey,
let's see how far that American dollar really goes.
I don't know the way that you plan on going about it.
I know. But anyway, so any tips on like the Amalfi Coast? Obviously the Amalfi Coast, especially on social media, it's so just hyped up and everything. So any tips on the Amalfi Coast?
Okay, so I've never been to the Amalfi Coast.
Okay.
A lot of people, they ask me general questions on Italy. Like, oh, I'm going to go over here. What do you think about that? I have absolutely no idea. I mean, I visited places when I was a kid, but I'm really more knowledgeable when it comes to the Riviera and Portofino. And
Gotcha.
I wish I could give you some advice on the Amalfi Coast, but I really don't know anything.
Gotcha. I mean, I talked to a lot of people that have family in Italy, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what about Rome?" And like, I've never been to Rome. I just go to hang out with my family for a month and then we come back, which is
That's exactly
that's
how
like
it
the
is.
cool. I wish I would have done this. So that's what I will hopefully could do in the future. I hopefully will fall in love with Italy, find a place somewhere in a small little beach town. That sounds like the perfect life.
I mean, it really sounds beautiful when you put it like that.
Yeah.
It's really such a beautiful, let me tell you, like I'm used to this area. I now live in this area, but constantly I'm reminded by just how blessed I am constantly. Like I'll turn a corner and like I'll just see just the panorama of the coastline, for instance. And I just need to stop where I am and just take a moment because Italy is so, so magical. It really, really is. Anything can happen here. It's amazing.
Have you been back to the States since you've officially moved?
I have not.
Okay. Are you planning to
No.
come back to the States at all soon to visit here or?
My friends keep texting me. They're like, when are you coming home? I'm like, I'm not coming home.
I was gonna say, wouldn't they just be more apt to go to Italy? Like that seems.
No one's visited me, and it's really making me
Wow.
upset. I'm almost tempted to like do a TikTok video and say, if you're this is from one of my friends. If you're not my friends, then keep scrolling, right? When are you visiting me?
Yeah. Oh my
No
God.
one's
I moved to the city and my friends come here all the time now. I see my friends more after I came to New York because now they have a place to stay and go hang out in New York for a weekend.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no one's visited. I mean, the only thing that might be pulling me back to New York is my cat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do miss her. So if I go back to the States, it would only really be to visit. I'm really starting to make roots over here, and I genuinely feel more comfortable living here. So I don't really have a reason to go back to the
So
States.
as of right now, it's full all in on Italy, all chips in the pot and Portofino.
Yeah,
That's so
pretty much.
awesome.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's so crazy to even believe. I was not expecting this to like happen at all. I just kind of did it.
Good for you. I mean, it takes a lot of courage, I'm sure. I'm sure it wasn't an easy decision when you made it. Is
It
that
was actually pretty easy.
oh, what do I
It was
know?
actually one of the easiest decisions I've ever made. It's like screw this, screw that. I'm going. I don't give a crap anymore.
Yeah, so do you think like maybe now that your TikTok has grown and you've got more followers, maybe you'll start to like explore down the boot a little bit and make more content doing stuff like that?
Yeah, I definitely do want to do that. I want to do my own traveling. Right now, I want to really get more stable when it comes to the monetization
Mhm.
of the page. Like I said, I just came out with the dual citizenship ebook, which is a step-by-step guide on how to get that.
Awesome.
Which thankfully that would be passive income, but I want to be able to work more one-on-one with people. And I think once I feel more financially stable, then I'm going to start taking my trips. But I definitely do think I'm going to reach that point. I just don't know when. But
Awesome.
regardless, I'm on vacation here anyway. I don't even feel the need to travel or to,
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, so start up the Patreon, making exclusive content, right? Is
I've
that, I
never checked
mean,
out that app. I actually don't know anything about that app.
yeah, it's like basically people paying you for exclusive content like monthly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Patreon. It's similar to obviously OnlyFans is the more well-known one right now for obvious reasons, but Patreon is more like used by creators, comedians, like
Okay.
yeah, so I would definitely check out that. That would be my tip to you in terms of
Interesting.
exclusive content.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I appreciate you coming on. This has been a blast. I'm more excited now for my trip. And so let everybody know where they could follow you. Some of the things you're offering now, like the one-on-one with the dual citizenship. I think that's like a great offer, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So you can on TikTok, I'm mainly on TikTok. You can find me Chiara period in period Italy. And on my TikTok page, there's a link to my website, and that'll take you to the step-by-step dual citizenship ebook. And also, if you want to book a consultation, a one-on-one with me, you can do that through there. And there's also detailed information about the tour that I'm giving in Portofino. It's going to be a really beautiful, beautiful evening. It's exclusive. It's a small group, and I have a couple seats left.
So
yeah.
cool. So awesome. So I'm looking forward to my trip. Maybe if not this trip, then the next one, I would take the tour for sure. I know we have to hit the north of Italy next time on the next trip at least. So thank you again for coming on. Everybody go follow Chiara in Italy on TikTok, Instagram. And yeah, if you have any questions, send it to her and go to Italy. Get your butts in Italy. Let's all start moving there and making that a more regular thing.
Yes, I agree. And thank you for saying my name right.
Of course. I know. Well, I'm subject to that. Just Nico, my last name's Toliano. I got Taliono.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's something I don't miss, let me tell you.
I
Everyone
bet.
says my name correctly.
I bet. Yeah. So thank you so much, everybody who's listening. Make sure you like and subscribe the video, share it with your friends, and we'll see you in the next episode. Ciao.
Ciao.